special and they are loved by God, and He has a perfect plan for their lives. So always remember that, children, young and not so young, that God loves you. God made you perfect, and He has a special plan for your life. He made all the flowers, He made all the animals, and He made all them beautiful. Like He made you girls beautiful, and you guys really strong. Oops. Okay. Now this, I'm just going to give this to yourself here. There you go. Okay. Now, I wonder, would anyone like to help me at this point? Okay. I've got 2 volunteers with me. Just in case. Actually, during COVID, when things started opening up again, these 2 volunteers were at the height of it for a long time. Now, children, normally I pick on parents. If I do today, would that be a good thing? No. You love your mommy, don't you? Okay. Well, one of the things I like to do when I travel to other countries, we have suitcases full of puppets, and coming home they're empty. Ladies, that would be like going shopping and coming home with empty shopping bags. You just can't do it, can you? So I like to bring home hats, mostly because I'm bald, and when you're as bald as me, you really need hats. This hat we got in Germany. We were in a village called Meckesheim, and we got it because they told us the first people to come to tell them about God were 3 brothers, 3 monks from Ireland, over 1,000 years ago. And those 3 men, they lived for Jesus and they died for Jesus. Thankfully, we didn't have to die for Jesus that day. And we had a wonderful time. There was lots of food, lots of drink, lots of dancing in the main street, and us telling stories of God. And I just thought it was too cool. Right, no dancing yet. This one I got back in March this year in Kathmandu, and I got it to remind me to pray for the people there, that they might meet the one true God. We were up in some churches, if you can imagine, church on a mountaintop, dropping away either side at 22,000 feet, and roads that, I've been in a lot of interesting roads. The roads there are the most interesting I've ever been on, like 500 to 1,000 meters, like down if you go wrong. But lovely people that really love God. Now I have another one. Would anyone like to help me? Quick, look away. Okay. Yes, we'll swap this one for you. This one I got, everyone always thinks it's an elf's hat. It is not an elf's hat. It's the hat of a Cossack man from Ukraine. And about 15 to 20 years ago, I was in Ukraine every year, traveling all over it. Places that for the last 8 years I've been hearing on the news about terrible things happening in them. So I bring that hat out today to remind me to pray for our brothers and sisters there, for God to deliver them from the evil they're facing, and for them to be a witness for God in all the situations they're finding themselves in. Now, I have one. No, I have 2 more hats. Okay. Right. Stop dancing. You're not even dancing like a Cossack man. Okay. This hat, you want to put it on? This hat I got in a Kremlin, not the Kremlin in Moscow. There's more than one Kremlin in Russia. This one is in Tatarstan, in a city called Kazan. And in the Kremlin there's a giant, great big mosque that the Saudis have paid for. And I just got it to remind me to pray for the people there too, that they might meet God. Now this one is a very special one for me. It's a hat of a lieutenant colonel in the Soviet military. A good friend of mine used to wear this hat, and he used to think he did not dance anything like this. He used to think that people that believed in God were crazy, and that it was right to do bad things to them in communist times. But then his daughter came to faith in God, and then he came to faith in God, and he spent the last years of his life a minister in village churches in a region called Zhytomyr in Ukraine. Now, at this point in time, his daughter's a refugee in Brussels, and just reminds me how big God is and how God works and how he's moved people around, not always through choice, but how God is always in control. So can I have these hats back? Can you guys go back to where you belong? That sounded worse than it was meant to be. Okay, now these I have with me today for a very simple reason. About 20 years ago, children, I thought back then I had a beard and I was already bald or going bald, but I thought I could learn to do something new. I thought old people can learn to do new things. So I got one of these and I started to practice like this. And then I got a second one after 2 weeks and I practiced for about a month like this. And then I got a third one and I practiced for 6 weeks until I could do this and this and that. But really good at that last bit. Something I thought was impossible was juggling for